Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special Prince on Prince podcast featuring the Doctor, where we bring you all things about Prince. My name is Prince.
My name is not the doctor. It's Terry, but we thought Prince on Prince with Terry sounded weird, so we went with the doctor.
Yeah, and we're two lifelong friends and Prince fans. And we are here to bring you all things Prince. And if you've been following us, you know that's true. And we are recording a very special episode because this episode will drop on the anniversary of his death, 10 years hence. And we poured a lot into trying to make this worthy of him as an honor. And we hope that you enjoy it as well.
And when we were thinking about how we would handle this day and how we would handle, what we would talk about, um, what we would maybe not talk about as well. There were a lot, we thought there were a lot of different ways that we could approach it, a lot of different ways that we could handle it. None of them seemed enough or quite right, I guess. So what we settled on, I'm happy with how we're approaching this, but what we settled on was talking about what the world is without him. And by that I mean we're focusing today on the genius of Prince, the singularity of the artist, things that he was thinking about back in 1982, 1986, 1997 that other artists just didn't even have on their radar. So today we're going to try and honor the genius of Prince, the singularity of the artist, and we're going to do that through highlighting some songs that Prince and I both see as uh, highlighting that, and indicative of that. And we'll also talk a little bit about that genius outside of his music as well.
Yeah, and some of the songs you'll recognize, but there are others that um, may or may not be known to some very deep Prince fans. We didn't want to have Purple Rain necessarily. I hope I didn't just mess that up because I don't know what you've selected.
I did not.
You know what
I
I've
did not.
selected. I don't know what
Yeah,
you've selected.
right. No, I did
Um,
not.
it's a bit on the nose, and so we wanted to go a little bit deeper with some of the songs. And so I'll start with the first one that I selected,
Hmm.
which I've only been aware of for a few years. I'm not sure if it's been properly released because it's not like on any of the expanded compilations or expanded albums released from the estate. But the lyrics and the melody just seemed like a very quintessential Prince song. The lyrics are, "If I left my front door open, would you come and visit me?" And then by the end, he sort of realizes that the person that he was trying to let in sort of betrayed him in a way. And I could be getting the lyrics wrong. I'm not in my best state right now because I'm feeling sad about today's episode. But we need to do it. Is part of the reason I wanted to do the
Hmm.
podcast in the first place because we know this is the 10-year anniversary. So if you haven't guessed it already, the song is called Pearls Before the Swine. And it's a really beautiful song, just melodically and lyrically. And it's almost like he knew. It was almost like he was saying, "This is how I started. This is how I
Hmm.
end." And so,
Let's hear a little bit of it.
yeah, let's hear a little bit of it.
If I leave my front door open, would you come and visit me? Just to slander my name, hoping that I would pack my bags and leave. And if I did, would you remember dove and clean the cage, and never count in front of the children as they die of old age.
Yeah, I've only heard this song a couple of times. I and I'll be honest with you, I don't like this is not a song that I would probably pick up and play. Um,
Right.
and it's like I love that line later on. He's like, can I offer you baklava by
Yeah.
bread or maybe a bagel with cream cheese, right? Which is so weird. But there's that line in the spot that we just played where he says, if I let you in, I packed my bags and I left. Would you remember to feed the dove and clean the cage?
Yeah.
And never count in front of children unless they die of old age. And it reminds me of this interview that he did. You've probably seen this where he was talking about birthdays and somebody was talking about his birthday and how old he was. He's like, I don't have birthdays. You don't have birthdays. You got one birthday. And that was the day that you were born. And he goes, and that's the only birthday that you have. And he goes, and I don't recognize him. And that's why he says, I stay looking so young
Yeah.
and looking
That's why I
so
can
good.
still look like this.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great song about like artistry. It's sort of like him talking about that and commerce. But there's another part of the song where he says, I don't know why you had to go or why we had to go our separate ways,
Hmm.
you know. So listening to it through the lens of having lost him,
Mm,
there's like these nuggets where he's saying, I'm not going to be here all the time. Will you still take care of the things that need to be taken care of?
mm, mm.
And I'd like to, well, I think that if he was here today, he might think that we weren't doing that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, this is it's a really lovely song. Um, I, I'm glad to hear you kind of talk about it in that way because it makes me think about it in a different way because when Prince and I were thinking about this episode and kind of the order of the songs that we would put in, he said I think I've got the one to start the episode off with and he said and then you can go after me. He says because pearls before swine, and I was really hurt by that. No. Levity, jokes. He's got
Just
jokes.
a little levity, people.
He's got jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a bird, I'll keep on singing though. Song that never leaves your
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah. He knew that he was only here to be not only, but he was primarily here to be an artist.
Mm,
And I know on Arsenio's show, he said that if he could do anything else, he would teach,
mm.
like pass down the knowledge that he'd learned. And I think a lot of artists have benefited from Prince, not just artistically, but even just how to move in the industry these
Yeah,
days.
absolutely. I mean, that's another type of his genius, right? Outside of the
Yeah.
music itself is, and we've talked about this before, especially in his later years, just putting musicians on.
Yeah.
Calling musicians up out of the blue and saying, I like what you're doing, like he did with Janelle Monáe, like he did with Outkast. And
Outcast, you don't realize who you are.
yeah, yeah. He says,
Yeah.
yeah, you don't know, yeah, you don't realize who you are. You don't realize how big you are and how
Yeah.
these people wouldn't be where they are without you. Um, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, I've got a song I want to share with you.
I can't wait to hear it.
So this is one, I think your songs are perhaps a bit more esoteric than mine, right? I think two of the songs that I'll suggest are songs that you would you would maybe expect, one maybe not. But so this is 1987, and if you think about the world in 1987 and where we were as kind of a culture in 1987. for this song to come out and to be such a hit that it was, and to, the covers that have been made of it since, this was really for me, a groundbreaking release by Prince, something that I couldn't imagine any other artist putting out. I mean, maybe for the next 10 years, right? Maybe till 1997, maybe somebody does it. But for a pop star who's kind of really in 1987, I mean, this is the pinnacle, at the peak of his career. And for him to put this song out is, I think, is shows his daring, shows his vision, and shows his fearlessness. So I'll play a little bit of it for you.
If I was your girlfriend, would you remember? Tell me all of the things you forgot when I was your man. Hey, hey, when I was your man. If I was your best friend, would you let me take care of you and do all the things that only a best friend can? Oh, only best friends can.
That little harmony there at the end. So,
Mm,
I mean, this one always has a soft spot in my heart
that's a good
because,
one.
I mean, I think you know how much I love Camille, right? And that persona.
Yeah.
Anything that he did as Camille, it was just, to me, nothing could go wrong, right? Nothing could go wrong. Um, the the production of this particular song, it's got this real muted feel to it. It's got this dampened feel to it that's just really cool. But then, of course, the content of the lyrics. I mean, some of it is like quintessential Prince, as you were saying. Would you run to me if somebody hurt you, even if that somebody was me? Um,
Yeah.
but the the central and principal context of this, if I was your girlfriend, would you let me dress you? I mean, help you pick out your clothes before we go out. Would you, remember to tell me all the things you forgot when I was your man? Um, this is again 1987, right?
1980. Yeah.
1987, and he's really pushing back in. I mean, and look, I know a lot of artists did that, pushed back against gender roles and pushed back against gender norms and norms of sexuality. But in a lot of ways, they did it. They did it, and they did it in a way that was hidden, maybe, or if not hidden, at least
And there were
thought.
only a few that would really push it, like in stars. I'm thinking
Yeah,
like of a Bowie or something
yeah,
that would just really push it in your face, but they had the cachet.
yeah,
They weren't underground.
yeah.
Yeah, and at that point it was kind of like Prince, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
and Prince, right? And the title of this, right? If I was your
yeah.
girlfriend, and I think in some ways, with the PMRC, that's the Parent Music Resource Center, started by Tipper
Mhm.
Gore, right? And famously, it was like, the Twisted Sister. We're not going to take it, but most famously, probably was Darling Nikki.
Of
And so
course.
this is where, the explicit content got put on, the labeling got put on lyrics. And that had its day and they had their moment. And I think that, the moral
It didn't quite
majority,
do what they thought
yeah,
because
but
that made them sell more records.
it did, right? Yeah, the Streisand effect, right? It was the total Streisand effect. But I think that Prince learned something from that or took something from that,
Mm.
that if I was fearless before, right? If I was fearless before this moment, nothing's going to stop me now,
Yeah,
right? And I'm
you
just
ain't
going
seen nothing yet.
to,
Hold
yeah,
my beer.
yeah. Oh,
Hold my beer. So the other thing about that song that was so genius, is there are different ways you could look at it, right? I always sort of saw the vulnerability
Yeah.
and the insecurity about not being what he felt she wanted him to be. He's like, well, maybe if I later on he came back as a dolphin. In this song, he wanted to come back as her girlfriend, basically, and he felt that that would make them closer. And so, at least from that lens,
Yeah.
that is such a beautiful song. And I heard an interview from Susanna, and she said that he could be so sweet that he would give her a song like Forever in My Life. But when he gave her If I Was Your Girlfriend, that wasn't meant to be sweet. You
Mm.
know, that was meant to send her a message that I don't like that you're closer to them than you are to me.
Yeah. Which, it's like that moment in and Under the Cherry Moon. He's like, he was a little possessive, don't you think?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Oh, yeah, he projected a little bit.
Yeah. For sure. For
He would
sure.
project a little bit,
Yeah. It's just
but great song.
the production of that, the fearlessness of it, again, just the title alone in 1987, I don't think anybody else is doing.
I'll say this too. Um, and you talk about the fearlessness. I think not Susanna, I think Susan Rogers said that she suggested he release that song. Because he was like, I'm debating between this and maybe Ballad of Dorothy Parker or something. And it's such a great song that we, as the listening public, we dropped the ball on that
Yeah,
because that should have been a hit.
and speaking of Susan Rogers too, we were talking about this before, but the story about this particular song and the uh, the production on this and the production mishap on this.
Hmm.
So on this particular song, there's also a little bit of kismet, I guess, in the sense that Susan Rogers in some interviews and some books has talked about this rare kind of technical glitch that happened when they were recording the song, and it caused some distortion on some of the words, right? Not all of them. And so when she went back later that night and was going through the playback on the tape, she was like, "Oh, this, he was pretty happy with how this went, but he's not going to be happy with this, and he's gonna lose his mind, because he was very famously a perfectionist. But when he heard it, he actually really, really liked that effect, and he insisted on, and so they kind of talked it through, and he insisted on like, let's keep that in the mix. Because he really liked it. And a similar thing happened on the same album, Ballad of Dorothy
Ballad of
Parker.
Dorothy Parker, absolutely.
Yeah, with the snowstorm.
Mm.
So they lost power in the snowstorm. And when the power came back on and they got to get back to recording, the board was actually running on half the wattage. So there's a lot of the high end of that song that's been pulled out of that.
I love that song
Yeah,
though, man.
I know
Oh,
two great ones, right? Two great ones
yeah,
there. Uh,
absolutely.
what you got next for me?
Oh, yeah, there's another sad one that I feel like he's letting you know. And it comes from what I consider one of his last great albums that he put together as an album. There were some other things that came out later, but it felt like a collection of songs to me. So like his Hit and Run one and Hit and Run two felt like a collection of songs. So 2014's Artificial Age, you can tell that was a concept from beginning to end.
Hmm.
Had Breakfast Can Wait, had You Know on there. And I
Oh
remember when
yeah.
those came out, like folks like us and some of my other friends were just super excited. Uh, and I wish that it had like the marketing backing to really push that.
Hmm.
Before I say the name of the song, I'll say this. I was driving one day and I was at a stoplight and this dude pulled up to me and he was listening to it. And I was like, right on. I'm yelling at him. He's like, people slept on this one, bro. And so, so people that know Artificial Age know
Yeah.
Artificial Age. It was a
Yeah.
great, great album.
It really was.
Introduced
Yeah.
me to Andy Allo,
Yeah.
who I did get to see live here in DC. But the song, he mentioned it, I believe, on Arsenio show as well. It's called Way Back Home, which is
Any person
again very
or object
reflective.
whatsoever that requires your attention is something that has veered from its path and preordained destiny of total enlightenment.
I never wanted a typical life. Scripted role, trophy wife. All I ever wanted to be left alone. See my bed's made up at night, 'cause in my dreams I roam. Just trying to find my way back home. So many reasons why. There's so many reasons why I don't belong here. But now that I am mine, without fear, I am gonna conquer with no fear until I find my way back home. Until I find my way back home.
That's killer, man.
Yeah, and there's another part, another verse where I don't want to say reconciliation, but he gives props to his parents for being able to raise a child like him
Mm.
because he understood, oh, I was different.
Yeah.
And growing up, you don't get that. And
Yeah.
then you get a little bit older and you reflect.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that I
Power,
had to be hard.
power to the ones who could raise a child
Yes.
like me. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I've heard about those happy endings, but it's still a mystery. Yeah. When we were talking about this episode, when you were talking about this particular album, because I know that this has always been one of your favorites and kind of those hidden gems. There's a song on this album that interpolates from this particular track that I feel the same way in terms of how you're thinking about this song. It's almost like he knows and he's presenting this. To me, the song off this album is the Affirmation number 3. And I'll just play a spot of that here too.
How are you feeling today, Mr. Nelson? I trust you're having a quick and enjoyable adjustment period. As you can see, we're communicating now telepathically. Telepathically. Which makes things move so much faster here. After you've completed the planned affirmation therapy, you'll find this way of interaction far easier.
So there's that interpolation, right? Bringing from the song that you had chosen. To me, what gets me about that particular song is that he doesn't appear on, like, vocally, right?
Right.
Vocally, he doesn't appear on that. And, obviously the song is about, I hope you're finding this transition easier to this next plane, right? Um, and of course, this is, that third eye phase as well.
Yeah.
So I think this is the first album because this comes out before
And
Hit and Run,
yeah,
right?
this is before the hit
Yeah,
and runs. And
before
then
Hit
he
and
did
Run.
Plectrum Electrum with
Yeah,
Third
with
Eye
Third Eye
Girl,
Girl. Yeah.
which is
So
another amazing band. They were amazing.
yeah, he he really surrounded himself with some great musicians.
Yeah.
But yeah, that song tears me up, and the Way Back Home tears me up because I feel like this was 2 years before, right? This is 2 years before, but it just feels like there was this, I
Like
don't know, this
it
premonition of
felt
some
like the
sort.
last song he did, you
Yes,
know.
yes,
It yeah.
yeah,
And now we know how much pain he was in,
yeah,
those last few years. So
yeah. I mean, especially like that line from Way Back Home. He said, all I wanted was to be left alone,
yeah.
and just, you hear sometimes celebrities talking about like the loneliness of celebrity,
Hmm.
right? The loneliness of celebrity. And I think that comes up in the Pearls Before Swine that you picked out
Yeah.
as well, because he's talking about that feeling of betrayal and that feeling of, not being able to trust. And I think that's something that just kind of haunted him, was just this lack of trust throughout. But
He had a lot of people that he lost trust in
yeah, for sure.
over the years. But you don't get there. You don't get to that level without things like that happening, those
Yeah.
unfortunate things.
And when
And
we did this, when we decided this, we were like, oh, we're going to celebrate his genius because we're not going to be sad. And all you're doing is bringing me really sad songs right now, man.
my next song will not do that, but it's your turn next.
Well, all right, yeah, I guess it is. So to me, and I know what your next song is, right? Because you've told me. You haven't. I haven't told you what my next song is, but
You
I
haven't
think
told me any of your songs.
I know. But I think that these two songs connect with one another in a way, musically, right? Like
Okay.
sonically. Sonically, there's something about it. So I'm going to go back to the year before the last song that I picked. It's
I
1986 now. Yeah, it's 1986 now. And it's from the Parade album. And so first of all, you and I have, I think you and I share the love of Under the Cherry Moon. We
mhm.
watch it together and we can recite the
Yeah.
lines and stuff like that. But this was such a great album and I mean, it was a big album. It really, really hit. I mean, Kiss was on there. Mountains was on there,
Mountains.
right? Mountains is such a perfect song. God, it's such a
Yeah.
perfect song. But to me, I'm going to pick one that is maybe a little bit more obscure, right, from this album. So, like I said, in 1987, I can't think of another artist who would, at the pinnacle of their career, put out a song, If I Was Your Girlfriend, um, that was, just blatantly pushes. I also can't think of anybody in 1986, a pop star, because I mean, in a lot of senses, that's what he was. He was a pop star, right? He always very famously blended different genres of music. He had rock and roll, he had classical, he had R&B, he had soul, he had just genres, funk from all over the place. But this one, I think, is just something that I can't imagine anybody else putting out. And I'm going to start it with
No one.
my favorite line from that song. mean, there's just so much going on in this song, right? The time signature, that weird ass time signature in that break, this nod to, the music he grew up listening to with his, father, the jazz in that, and the dissonance in the chords, right? Like Western music is very much this this harmonic chord progression. This is very different from that, right? The chords are dissonant. The chords don't match. They're just a little bit off. He was great with playing with harmony and stuff like that. But here he's really pushing that. And this is a pop star coming out with this song. Just, what is it? Like 3 minutes and 14 seconds of just cacophonous chaos, man. Right? Just this chaos.
Yeah. But it sounded so beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that song. I love that song. And as you were building it up, I knew exactly which song. And I knew exactly which lyrics.
Yeah.
You know, um, again,
What a
just
great lyric,
a
though.
tribute, huh?
What a great lyric. No one plays the clarinet the way you play my
The way
heart.
you play my heart.
Good Lord.
But yeah. That nobody writes lyrics like that.
Yeah.
Another case for the Revolution and their genius. Was Bobby Z on drums or was Sheila E on drums on that one?
I don't know.
Because that person was, I mean,
They were killing it.
all of the
Yeah.
musicians, that's a band that is daring and trusting of each other.
Yeah. Yeah. It was Sheila E. It was
Oh,
Sheila E. And I mean, you
she
can
was,
you can tell because I mean, Bobby Z was a great drummer. Sheila E, more of a percussionist, right? So you got
yeah,
percussionist and drummer, and that song is just bananas percussion.
it's
Right.
bananas percussions. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. But
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, that I don't know if he had any role in it or not, but yeah, everything about that song is brilliant.
mm,
Uh, I would have loved to have seen a video.
yeah. I think there's something though sonically about that song that pairs nicely with the song that you've got for us too here.
Oh yeah, and sorry, not sorry that most of my songs are just so esoteric. Um, my next song, hey, this is for the Prince fans.
Yeah, that's right.
My next song I actually heard on bootleg. Um, our mutual friend Skip
Mm,
gave me a copy of a Prince. It was Prince and Friends. And it's called Crucial. And a lot of those songs have been released on things like Crystal Ball and some of these
mhm.
expanded editions of albums. But when I first heard it, I was like, this is freaking amazing. How is this not a thing? And I don't know who all plays on it, but he was still with the revolution. So I imagine Wendy and Lisa were there and other members of the revolution. But I also think that members of Sheila E.'s band
Mm,
were there because people don't know when the revolution disbanded, he basically brought on a lot of members of Sheila E.'s band
mm.
to be the new power generation, so to speak, like Levi Caesar and those folks. Um, so the song that I picked,
And
that I
let me ask you
yes,
this. Is this your favorite song? Is this your I mean, I know this it's hard to pick, right?
it's hard to pick.
Is this, because I know it's one of them,
It
but
is one of
you
them.
know, Back Against the Wall, is this your favorite Prince song?
No, it's Adore. Adore is my favorite. And if I want to get down, I'm gonna put on some Kiss or something. But this is an underrated Prince song that I think he would have I think if the revolution would have stayed together for one more, it would have been on it.
Hmm.
And it could have been on Under the Cherry Moon. It's a little different. But he was just doing things that are I know I'm super excited about it. I'm super excited about this song because I listen to it all the time,
Yeah.
and I had to get that bootleg, not just for this song, because the version of Crucial that he released, I
Mm.
think on Crystal Ball, is not my favorite version. The version he released was him doing a guitar solo, but my favorite, it exists, is Eric Leeds and probably Atlanta Bliss playing the horns on
Hmm.
Crucial.
Yeah.
Oh man. And it also had Power Fantastic. Just not that I'm advocating people go out and find bootlegs, but a lot of those songs now you can find on proper releases,
Yeah.
including this one.
Yeah.
And it is a large room with no light.
Let's hear it. 2020 remaster.
Lana drew a picture of school today, one that made her mother cry. A picture of a woman with a drink in her hand, standing by a child with no eyes. Washington reaction based upon revenge. The baby's blown to kingdom come. Damn the logic, cartoon characters look better when they're on the run. Danny dropped a dime on his girlfriend and said he didn't want to go to jail alone. The thief lives in the same mind with a thought that says we all should be stoned. The people looking for angels in the sky whenever they're broken hearted. Love is grown, seeds are sown, fires don't burn unless they start. Did you ever feel that life is like looking for a penny in a large room with no light? A sophisticated math produced cacophony of no situations that aren't right.
Yeah, there's something about those. It's not your regular pop song.
It is not.
It's got that
And he was
jazz
about to
feel to it.
curse because he was about to say, man, I forget the exact lyrics, but something about a mofo in your face, talking big stuff in your face, and they only open their mouths to swap feet. It's like, so you listen to a song like that and the cacophony you were talking about earlier, it all works musically, but the lyrics also just fit.
Yeah.
And it's not like anything anyone had done before, during, or since.
Mhm.
And so if you were, we call this a genius episode, that's like a genius of a song. And you could also hear it, when I hear that song, I feel like I'm listening to him grow exponentially in a song.
Mhm.
So
First,
yeah,
first
amazing.
available as an audio stream on the Montreux Jazz Festival website. It was on in 2009 in conjunction with Prince's two shows later 3 days later that year. While the recording was new, the track itself was 23 years old. 23 years old.
Yeah, I heard it in the 80s.
Yeah, man. Tracking for this Sunset Sound in Hollywood, California,
Wow.
with members of the Revolution and, you were correct, Sheila E.'s band. Eric Leeds confirmed in an interview that the full title track was originally "Life is Like Looking for a Penny in a Large Room with No Light." This was initially included as the 10th track on the first disc of The Dream Factory and would have been credited to Prince and the Revolution, but was removed for the 18 July 1986 version or configuration. So yeah, Montreux Jazz Festival, and then on the the remix and the remaster and the deluxe edition of Sign of the Times.
And
By the
it
way,
would have been
I
if
was just
they
going to say
released
that
another
information.
album.
Sorry. I was just going to
Go
say
ahead.
that information is from Prince Vault. PrinceVault.com. Check those guys out.
Oh yeah,
PrinceVault.com. Sorry.
great people there. But I was right. If they had released another album, he had planned for that to be on it. So that
Yeah.
makes sense
You were
because
dead
it
on it.
is such a great song. But it's back to what we said about the revolution. Um, they brought something out of him.
Mm-hmm.
They belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They brought something out of him where he just, I think before them, I mean, you can tell, like, but I think before them, he was just sort of in his pocket with, um, do I just want to be a pop star? Do I want that now? And he realized that he could just do whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
Musically, he had the talent,
Mm-hmm.
and it pushed him.
Yeah.
So,
We're talking about the Madhouse albums. We're talking about,
hmm
the night that 1986, the jazz influence is coming on with Parade. Um, and we talked from the jump about him blending all these different styles of music and all these different genres of music. Um, and and that's something that's going to come up in my last song that I've got for
well,
you.
let me ask you this: what style of music was that? What style of music is Parade? There's
Right. Yeah. I mean, well, Parade's a lot of different styles, right?
a lot of different
It's a
styles.
lot of different styles, but I mean, there's that kind of, you've got that a Latin inspired
hmm
free jazz that's going on. You've got the funk of Kiss, which is also like that 12 bars blues setup.
Yeah,
So again, check out that episode on One Song on Janelle Monáe. Um, and he talks about Kiss as well, because both of these songs are these 12 bars. It's a 12 bars blues setup. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's just so many different genres that he plays with, and he's just a master at all of them. I mean, he's got rock and roll. He's got some of the stuff on his early albums. You could hear that stuff like on a heavy metal album, right? Some of the
yeah,
stuff was like
yeah.
1980s heavy metal. Um, but so my last Prince Genius song is, and this is probably going to be one that's maybe on the nose, right? So if you're out in left field and you're esoteric here, and I may be bringing a little bit of it with Life Can Be So Nice, but this one I'm just going to go on the nose, because there's no reason to mess about when you're talking about Prince's genius than to come to this song, one of his biggest hits, a song that the layered production on this song was so different than what had been coming out and what was on, at that time, the radio and on MTV. But it mixes pop, it mixes rock and roll, and it mixes classical. Um, do you know what I'm talking about yet?
No, what if you tell me the year?
The year is 1984.
I thought he was going to say 82. Is this Darling Nikki?
No, it's not Darling Nikki, but you're on the same album. Um, and look, here's the genius. You've got to have an opener and you've got to have a closer. We talked about
Gotta
that
have an
before.
opener.
And he's got some tremendous openers, right? Dearly Beloved. I mean, as soon
Yeah,
as that comes on, people know, right?
yeah.
People know what's
As
up.
soon as you say it,
Yeah,
that's what people think of now.
this is another one.
That was my second guess.
Yeah, this is another one. You hear this opener and you know exactly what's coming. So that guitar,
That's why we need to do it together.
the very 80s synth, right? Those synth
Yeah.
stabs in there, that the Lin LM1, those Oberheim synths. You hear that and you're like, God, that's Prince through and through, right? Prince through and through. But this is also very famously showing another part of his genius, not the original version of this song, right? The original version of
Mhm.
the song had a bass track on it. And Prince listened to that and said, you know what, there's something not right about this, pulls the bass track off of it. So this goes to number one, right? This goes to number one, and it has no bass line in it. It has no bass part,
First
which is,
song to do that.
is it? I mean, I've
Yeah,
heard that before. I just didn't know if that was actually
I'm pretty
true.
sure it's the first one, but Kiss doesn't have a bass line either, right?
No, which also went to number one.
Yeah,
Also went to number one. So he's got two tracks, right?
yeah,
Within 2 years with no bass line that goes to
basically.
number one. But yeah, doing something like that though was really kind of unheard of, right? It was not something that people did, and it was a risky move, and to put those synths in, let the synths kind of play the part of the bass. But when I was talking about those different styles of music, I'm going to go to a portion at the end of this song, and you'll hear the classical coming in too. I mean, I don't know when Amadeus came out, like on the top of my head.
Same year.
Was it? Was
Yeah,
it
they
really?
both came out same year.
Was it really? Seriously? I gotta look that
I
up. I
believe
believe
so.
you. I don't doubt it. But I mean, yeah, here he is. I mean, he was a pretty big star already. No, it was. You're right. 1984. Crazy. Here he is. He's a big
Hey,
star.
look,
He's a big star already. He's not as big as he's gonna be when he's recording the song, right? But 1999 has already come out. Little Red Corvette has already come out, right? And then he's just gonna throw like some Mozart at the end of this, what will be his first number one hit.
mhm.
And that song right there has so many different styles. From the
It
guitar
just,
at the beginning, that guitar just absolutely, I think the term for it is shreds, right? I mean, that
yeah,
guitar
yeah.
is so
Yeah,
hard.
I think the technical term.
Yeah. And then the synths, the absence of the bass, that layered production. There's so much going on this. And to
And
me,
lyrically, I
yes.
mean, he didn't phone in lyrics. That was the thing, and I was surprised it took so long for them to put him in the Songwriters Hall of Fame because he did not phone in lyrics for him to be so prolific.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say every single lyric was, no one plays a clarinet. Uh,
Right, right.
if you listen to piano and a microphone while he's working it out,
Mhm.
you can hear him. Like, oh, I didn't like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did not like that rhyme scheme.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the stuff that he released, I say 85, 90%. You can tell that he put as much into the lyrics as he did the
Hmm.
instrumentation.
Yeah, especially around this time period too, right? Especially
Yes.
around this time period. But yeah, to me, if you're going to talk about genius and you're going to talk about Prince, I don't see how you can talk about it without talking about When Doves Cry.
You're absolutely right. And so I was super remiss because it didn't even dawn on me. I'm thinking about all these other songs, but you're thinking about the songs that marries his genius with people noticing it too. Because a lot of mine, other than Life Can Be So Nice, which was still such a fantastic choice.
Mm.
Um, but mine were like, you have to be a Prince fan that has crates, you know.
Crates and cred. Crates and
Yeah,
cred.
crates and cred. Yeah, we do it for them.
But
Oh
yeah,
man, I
there,
appreciate you so much. I have to say that because I was sad going into this. I mean, you could
yeah,
tell from my first two choices, I was sad.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, and you lifted my spirits up, my friend. So thank you, brother.
I it's the least that I can do, especially knowing what your last song is, and that you're just
Yeah.
gonna, you know, say, "Hey, everybody, look at this balloon floating gently in the sky," and then shoot it with a BB gun.
So Yeah, I think that's a good cue for me.
Yeah.
This song, uh, well, he and Andre Simone were very, very close.
Hmm.
Even after Andre left, they reconciled and stayed close. I heard an interview with Andre, and he said that when they were younger, they used to talk about writing the perfect song. And one day he saw Prince and he said, I think you did it. And Prince said, what? He said, I think you wrote the perfect song. Oh, really? I've written a lot of songs at this point. What are you talking about? And he said, again from Parade, sometimes it snows in April. And I remember billboards when Prince passed away. Uh, Corvette did an ad where they just had a picture of a red Corvette and it said, baby, that was much too fast. I think they won awards. Apollo, I think, had the beautiful ones you always seem to lose. Or maybe they put sometimes it snows in April. And that's this song, Sometimes It Snows in April, which again was him sort of eulogizing himself in many ways.
Yeah, this song, and I'm delaying playing it because I know this the impact that this song has always had on me, right? Because this was when this came out. I've told you before. This was the first time that I had a friend who died. So I was pretty young here at this time, but this was the first time I had an actual friend that died. There were kids that when I was very, very young, I knew that passed away, but I wasn't close to them. And he passed, this friend of mine, on April 20th, the day before Prince. But it was the same year that this album came out. And so when I heard this song, it would always remind me of him. But yeah, I don't know how you can, I don't know how you can mark Prince's passing without this song. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a good choice, and yeah, without further ado.
Tracy died soon after a long-fought civil war. Just after I wiped away his last tear. I guess he's better off than he was before. A whole lot better off than the fools he left here. I used to cry for Tracy 'cause he was my only friend. Those kind of cars don't pass you every day. I used to cry for Tracy, 'cause I want to see him again. But sometimes life ain't always the way. Sometimes it snows in April. Sometimes I feel so bad, so bad. Sometimes I wish that life was never ending. And all good things they say never last.
That's a heartbreaker, that one. I mean,
Yeah.
even the beginning of it. If it just stopped at the instrumental piece of it.
I wonder if Lisa was playing the piano, because the beginning sounds like Lisa to me, but parts of it sounds like him. So I'm not sure. Uh, but yeah, that is definitely a heartbreaking song. And I'll say this too. One of the reasons why I like watching Under the Cherry Moon so much is because of the sheer joy that you could see the life that he had when he was making that movie. He didn't realize how bad it was.
Yeah.
And neither did we. Neither did we.
Yeah.
Um,
It was awful.
I feel like,
But
well, at least I didn't.
oh,
It,
yeah.
it took a couple of decades. I'm like, what are people talking about? What are y'all? What's wrong with y'all? But yeah, you could tell that he poured a lot into himself, and that uh, yeah, I just felt like he was being very authentic.
hmm
And even that song was just, I don't know.
It's it's a really stripped down song, but
Yeah.
also it also has this kind of fullness and this lushness to it. That's, Claire Fisher and the orchestration. But other than that, it's Prince and it's Wendy and it's Lisa.
Oh, that's it.
That's it. It's Prince, it's Wendy,
Wow.
and it's Lisa. And Prince and Wendy and Lisa wrote it together as well.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That
But
makes sense.
and but other than that, and and I didn't know this, but you taught me this is because when we were originally talking about dinners and stuff like that, I said, Claire Fisher would be kind of cool. And you're like, yeah, but Claire Fisher never met Prince, really. They never crossed paths. Prince would just send his music off and Claire Fisher would put the string arrangements on there and send it back, which is so weird to me because the two of them, it felt like what they did together was so, oh man, it was just magical, right?
Cinematic. Yeah, very
Yeah.
much.
And it's like how you're just doing this in two different places. Because it wasn't like now where, we're in two wildly different places and we're, sitting here on a video call. This is back in 1985, right? When
Yeah.
this first comes out. This is 1985. There's no Zoom, right? There's none of that stuff. The phone's corded to the wall.
They
You
didn't even
know?
talk on the phone.
Yeah.
I understand Prince thought Claire was a female. Did you know
I
that?
did. I did for the longest time. I did for the
No, I
longest
did
time.
too. I did
Yeah.
too. I'm like,
Yeah.
what do you mean a guy named Claire? Oh,
But
he's French.
yeah. But so yeah, but I mean other than him, and so I think that there is this kind of that's why you hear this intimacy to that song,
Yeah.
beyond like the content of it and beyond the the composition of it. It's just this it's just Wendy on the guitar and backing vocals and Lisa. And Wendy's guitar playing on that too
Hmm.
is just it's just like it's just floating there in the background. Yeah.
So either of those would also be great dinner party guests, and they could tell us a lot more about what was happening because such a beautiful song.
Yeah.
Such a
And
beautiful song.
you know what? Actually, I want to just check something here on this. Because I don't know that. Yeah, on the actual recording that was released, Claire Fisher's orchestration wasn't even on it.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was just Wendy, Lisa, and Prince.
Well, it's sort of like For the
Apropos.
Tears in Your Eyes,
Yeah, apropos.
where it's just them.
Um,
And I was glad that they reconciled and she did Reflection with him on Tavis Smiley.
mhm.
Um, yeah, so
That's another
they are
song.
magic together.
Yeah, that's another song. Yeah,
Yeah.
what a wonderful song that is. Reflections.
Yeah.
Um, well, to close this out, I I told you that I got a gift from someone, and we think about Prince's music and we think about Prince's legacy and what a gift it was, right? To have
Mhm.
him 40 albums, 40 plus albums, right? Think about what a gift it was to have him on this earth and to have him, and also like in our lifetime too, right? So Prince and I have been friends for 40 years now. And we've been Prince fans for longer. And I know you were a Prince fan even before I was. And that was one of the things that kind of, also brought us together. But to be able to kind of grow up with Prince, that's been a gift. So I've got two gifts here with me. One, a colleague of mine, put me on a project, and at the end of the project, I received this gift, and it was a set of these glasses, these whiskey glasses here with the
Oh, I
cloud
love it.
guitar. Yeah, and you'll notice that there's just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of something in this glass, and that's another gift. And what I have here is the very last of the whiskey that you bought me when my mother passed. And so when my mom passed, Prince, of course, best friend since childhood, was right there, and it was his mom that passed too. Um, and and I remember you telling me that when your father had passed, that you had been given this gift of this bottle of whiskey, and that you wanted to kind of pay that forward. And so I've been saving this drop or two for an occasion, and I figured that this was just about as good as any, um, because my mom wasn't a great big Prince fan, but she was a
Really?
musician. She was a
You
musician,
like this, Prince?
as she she did. She ain't afraid of tricky. But anyway, so thanks for inviting me on this podcast and on this adventure with you. Thanks for being such a wonderful friend. Thanks for, um, yeah, thanks for all the Prince memories that we have together. Now, I don't want to drink alone, and knowing you, I know that you've probably got something nearby.
Yeah, so I went to a wedding and walked away with a bottle of Jameson. So there's a whiskey.
Hmm.
Um, the bride and groom gave it to me, and maybe they felt I needed to loosen up. I have some Kashaka from
Ah,
one of my Brazilian girlfriends.
one of
I'm
mine.
not sure where I got this summer water from. There was some rosé. Not sure where I got that from, but I think that's more for warmer temperatures. And I got some Ukrainian vodka, born in Ukraine.
I anyone that would know us would feel like these would be very much switched, right? Like I got a little bit of whiskey here, and you're like, I got 4 bottles just sitting in my in my room. So have something with me.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out which one I should have. What would you suggest?
Can't go wrong with whiskey.
We're gonna go with Jameson.
Jameson for the poets.
But what kind of whiskey do you have over there?
This is the Japanese whiskey that you bought for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I knew it was. I was just messing with you.
Yeah. So, chin chin.
Chin chin.
Well, thanks for joining us for another episode, Prince on Prince podcast. Next one won't be as sad. Uh, we won't be drinking on the next one, I don't think, anyway. We'll do our drinking before.
We'll drink before and after, but not during.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, thanks again. Joining us. If there's something that you want to hear about, something you want us to talk about, please put it in the comments below. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.